Hi, welcome to my second channel, English Fluency TV, and in this lesson I am sharing 7 habits for safe driving for life, hoping it will help you to improve your English by listening. Let's start the lesson. Now, just because you passed your driving test, it doesn't mean that you are a good driver. It doesn't mean that you are a safe driver. Passing means you have proved to the examiner that you can drive the car by yourself without any help, and you drove on the day safely. Now, just because you drove safely today, it doesn't mean you're going to drive safely tomorrow, because you haven't got enough practice for you to be a good driver, for you to be a safe driver. So for you to be a good driver and for you to be a safe driver, what do you need? How can you become a good driver? How can you become a safe driver? And the only way you can is by having good habits. If you have good driving habits, that will make you a good driver, that will make you a safe driver. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 habits for safe driving for life. Let's start the lesson. Number 1, follow traffic rules. So create from day 1 to follow traffic rules. Get that in your head that I'm always going to follow the traffic rules. So number 1 is the signals. Number 2 is the speed limits, and number 3 is the road markings and road signs. So in your mind from day 1, make a habit of following the signals. Then you have the speed limits, okay? Never break the speed limits. So whatever the road speed is, make sure you obey, make sure you follow the road speed. Now, just because the road is 30, it doesn't mean you're always going to drive 30. If the road is 30 and if it's safe, you should be driving 30 because it is safe for you to do 30. But then some road, it could be 30, but maybe it's not safe for you to do 30. So what do? You do according to the road situation. You do the speed for the road speed. So never break the speed limits and always drive what the road speed is. Make a habit of that, because once you make that habit, you will automatically do it without thinking. Your speed is not going to go above the speed of the road because you've made that habit. Also, road signs. So always look for the road signs, what the road is saying. Is the road saying what's the speed of the road? The sign is saying give way line, stop line. It's saying one-way street. The road marking is saying which lane you need to go straight. Sometimes left lane doesn't go straight. So what do? So make it habit of looking for road signs, looking for road markings. That way you will always automatically look for road signs, look for road markings, and you will obey them, you will follow them. So number 1 is to follow traffic rules. Don't break them and make sure you follow them. Make a habit from day 1, so then automatically your mind will go towards that way because you've got that habit of doing it. Once you get that habit, like I said, you can't go wrong. You don't even have to think there's a police waiting to see if I'm speeding, because your habit is you don't break the rule. You always follow the road signs, the road markings, because it's a habit that you've built from day 1. So number 1 is the traffic rules. Number 2, stay focused and be alert all time on your driving. Make it habit of always focus what you're doing, where you are going, how you are doing things, and always be alert what's happening. Always keep your eyes on the road, keep both hands on the wheel. Don't use the phone. Don't try to text while you are driving. Don't try to talk on the phone while you are driving. Try not to get any distraction from where the car is going. Remember, when you're driving a car, you are in the driving seat. It is your responsibility to make sure you are safe and you are keeping others safe. The only way you're going to do that is to focus what you're doing, as well as being alert what's happening around. If you're distracted because of your phone, you're trying to text, you are trying to talk on the phone, you're trying to eat while you are driving, all these things is going to distract you from focusing, from being alert what's happening. So always focus what you're doing, be alert what's happening on the road, and make a habit of that from day 1. Create that habit. Like I said, once you create that habit, what happens? Automatically you will do those things because you created a habit. You have this habit of not touching your phone, not texting, not eating while you are driving, not talking on the phone while you are driving, because all these things are going to take your focus away from driving. And like I said, when you're driving, focusing is one of the most important, because anything could happen anytime, and you lose your focus for 1 second, what's going to happen? It could be something dangerous. Okay? So Habit number 2 is to focus and always be alert what's happening. Habit number 3 is to use signals and be clear. So what I mean by signal is that make sure you signal on time, giving your intention to other road users. So if you're going left, you're going to be signaling left. If you're going right, you're going to be signaling right. But is indicator the only signal we use when we are driving? Because as a driver, we must understand what kind of signals we are using. Remember, it's not just the indicator we use to let others know what we are doing. Indicator is one of them. It's one of the signals we use to go left or go right, or letting others know our intention where we are going. So indicator is one of them. What's the other signals? The other signals we can use is the brake lights. Let others know that there is a problem ahead. Sometimes just touch the brake. What happens? The light comes at the back, the red light, which is telling others that you are slowing down. It's a brake light, which means you are slowing down. Why are you slowing down? They will know there might be a problem over there. So brake lights, it's also a signal. Reverse lights, it's also a signal. Position of your car becomes a signal. So if you're overtaking a cyclist, if you do early position, car behind will know that that is a signal. Why is this car slightly over towards right? Your car automatically becomes a signal for the other road users. And always signal on time. So if you are going second road on the left, don't signal before the first. At the end of the road, you want to go left or right. Make sure there is no road before that. Make sure you signal on time. So if you are going left or right at the end, you will be signaling, but there could be a road before it, close to that junction. If you signal before that, people's going to think you are going into that road. Make sure you know the signals for roundabouts. Do you understand roundabouts? Do you understand which way you should be signaling? Do you know the signal on roundabouts? If you're going straight second exit, when do you signal? If you're going third, fourth on the right, when do you signal? If you're going straight ahead on the roundabout, when do you signal? Do you understand all that? So make sure. So habit 3 is use signals and be clear with your signal. Make sure you are clear to your signal, what you're actually doing, letting others know your intention. Be clear. Habit number 4 is to maintain a distance from the car in front. Many drivers, what they do is they drive too close to the car in front. Maybe they are rushing and they think that driving close to the car in front is going to help them reach their destination any earlier. It's not going to do. You're not going to go to your destination any earlier if you drive close to the car in front. If the car in front brakes suddenly, what's going to happen if you're close to the car in front? You're going to go back of them, right? So make sure you maintain a good distance from the car in front. Always follow the 2 seconds rule. Also, if you stop on the traffic light and there's a car in front, try not to go too close to that car. Because if they can't move anymore, maybe the car broke down and they can't move anymore, what's going to happen to you? If you're too close, you can't go round. So when you are driving, don't drive too close to the car in front. Also, when you stop on the traffic light, don't go too close that if they can't move anymore, you have no space to go around. Make sure you always have enough space from the car in front to go round if you stop behind the car on the traffic light or on a junction. So habit 4 is to maintain a safe distance from the car in front. Habit number 5 is be patient. Now driving is something, it can be very stressful. And unless you control yourself and be patient, either you're going to do something wrong, or when others do something wrong, you're going to do something wrong because you're not patient. You have to be patient. Remember, you chose to be a driver. You chose to be on the road. And for you to be on the road, you have to deal with other road users. There are many stressful drivers. There are many bad drivers. For you to be with them, for you to drive with them, you have to be patient to deal with them. Because unless you don't have the patience, it's going to be difficult for you to be safe and to be safe for others. You chose this life. You know the road is going to be busy. You know it's going to be a lot of traffic on different times. Going to work, coming from work, going to school, dropping off your kids. There's always going to be traffic here and there. There's always going to be other people doing something wrong. There's always going to be bad drivers on the road. The only person you could control is yourself. You can't control others. Getting angry and being impatient is not going to help you to be a good driver. It's not going to help you to be a safe driver. Your job is to be patient, control yourself so that you could drive safely for yourself and for others. You can't control what others are doing. You can't control what they do on the road. That's not your control. It's out of your control. For you to be a good driver, for you to be a safe driver, one of the habits you must master is to be patient. It's one of the golden habits that you must create when you are driving. To be a safe driver is to be patient on the road. Because sometimes it is going to be difficult for you to be patient. And for that, you have to work on your patience on your driving. You must master that. You have to have this habit. You have to create this habit of being patient. Only then you could be a good driver. Only then you could be a safe driver for yourself and for others. Habit number 6 is to maintain your vehicle. So when I say maintain your vehicle, what I mean is to make a habit of checking your vehicle regularly if everything is okay. Is the car good enough for me to drive today? So every day before the journey, I would make a habit of checking my wheels. Are they okay? Are they flat? Is there any cut? Does it have enough air for me to drive? Is it flat? Is there any cut? So I would go around and check all my wheels. Is it okay for me to do the journey? For me to do the journey now. Also check your engine. Make sure you have enough water. Make sure you have the brake fluid, steering fluid, the coolant, windscreen washer. Make sure all these are enough for the journey that you are making. Check if your brakes are okay. Check if your steerings are okay. Check if your handbrake is working. Check if the anti-lock braking is working. Make sure you know how to check all of those things. This is why in the test you have the show me, tell me questions. Why? So that you get to learn all those, so that after you pass, you maintain your car. It is worthy, it is good enough for you to drive to make the journeys. You're the driver. It is your responsibility to make sure your car is good enough to drive to make the journeys. There are some things you should be checking every day before the journey, and there are some things maybe check it every week, every month. So habit number 6 is to maintain your vehicle. It is your responsibility to make sure your car is good enough to drive to make the journey. Habit number 7 is practice defensive driving. So from day 1, practice to be defensive. Practice to be, you could recognize early what's happening so that you are ready to avoid accidents. So what do I mean by that? Anticipation, or reading the road well ahead. The more you read the road, more you will see the problems coming. Always remember that the problems are not falling from the sky. It's not coming from nowhere. It's happening around you. It is your job to recognize those problems, to see what the hazards are, what could happen. So you're driving along and there's parked cars. Lots of parked cars on the road. There is no problem, but it's lots of parked cars. So what does that mean? What could happen? What should you be thinking for you to avoid the accident? What could happen in that road? So the road has many parked cars. Door could open. Somebody could cross the road. Somebody could just open the door without giving you any notice. There could be a child front of a car and you can't see that child because the child is not tall enough. If you was a tall person, you would see the head of that person standing to cross the road. If it's a child, you won't be able to see that child, the head of that child, because that child is not tall as the car. So as you're driving, you only see the car. You don't see in between the cars, there's a child to cross the road. So you're not reading that. As you're passing the parked cars, what should you be doing? Maybe look underneath the car. Maybe you could see the feet of that child and not the head. As you're going around vans, make sure there's no one crossing the road front of the van. If there's a person walking with a child, are they holding hand? If they don't, what could happen? The child just could run front of you. If there's a person walking with a dog and there's no lid, what could happen? The traffic light is green, what could happen? It could change. If you don't read that and you're trying to beat the traffic light, what could happen? All of a sudden, it might change and you do an emergency stop and the car behind is going to go back of you because you didn't give them any notice. If you read that, the traffic light is green, it could change. If you were thinking, making that habit every time you see a traffic light is green, how do you approach that? If you created that habit so that every time you see a traffic light green, you're thinking, well, it could change, so I'm not going to speed up. I'm going to go in a way, if it does change, I could stop. So you were always looking for the hazard, what could happen, reading the road, anticipating, so that if it happens, it is not a surprise for you. It is not something it just happens suddenly because you knew there is a problem. It could happen, so I'm working from now. That problem is in my plan from now so that if it does happen, I'm ready for it. And you need to create that as a habit, so that when you are driving, you do it automatically. You are reading automatically without even thinking. So anyway, these are the 7 habits for safe driving for life. If you could make those 7 your habits, you will become a good driver. You will become a safe driver for yourself and for others. I hope it helps. If it does, please do give a thumbs up, and please do make a comment what you think of the video. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos, and hope to see you again on the next video. Bye for now.